Imagine dipping a single silk thread into a vat of indigo, watching the water wrap the fiber until it takes on a blue so deep it seems to store a sky. So, what can one thread tell us about Khmer life, memory, and change? Today, we're following that thread through looms, dye pots, and the hands that keep patterns alive.
Listen closely. This is a story about material decisions. Why silk for a wedding sampat? Why cotton for a daily shoulder cloth? And how those choices encode social life. The layers matter. Technique, meaning, and the people who carry those skills forward.
Quick note for listeners. I'll mention places and techniques as we go. Traditional ikat, supplementary weft, village looms. And there are short video clips and photos in the show notes and on my channels if you want to see the motions I'm describing. Words are helpful, but watching a shuttle fly makes the process click.
Right. Let's start with the raw stuff, fibers and dyes. Cambodian silk, often reeled in small family sericulture, has a particular sheen and is reserved for formal dress. Cotton is grown for everyday cloth. Those material choices set use and value long before a pattern appears.
Dyes are local chemistries. Indigo, madder roots, turmeric, jackfruit bark, each gives a palette, and each requires recipes, mordants, timing, repeated dips. You can tell the hand of a dyer when the tonality is just so, the same blue tied to a village or family memory.
Exactly. And a little anecdote. When I visited weavers in Kampong Thom, one woman smoothed a child's ceremonial cloth and said, "This pattern remembers my grandmother." That sentence carries technique, lineage, and intent all at once.
That kind of line, "remembers my grandmother," is what I mean when I call cloth a tactile archive. Now, on to looms. The backstrap loom ties work to the body and to shared space. Larger frame looms allow wider cloth. The physical setup influences pattern scale, who can weave it, and where it's made.
And that sets up techniques like ikat.
Right, ikat. People often hear the word and think of a single style, but ikat practice varies. Resist can be applied to warp, to weft, or both. The tying is choreography. Mark threads, bind, dye, untie, then weave until the motif appears, like watching a map reveal itself thread by thread.
Wait, explain the tying a bit more. How precise must those marks be?
Very precise. A mistie shifts a motif across a whole panel. It's not only manual skill, it's planning. Some weavers plot out motifs like a composer, noting repeats and pauses, so when the dye and the weave meet, the image resolves.
Supplementary weft works differently. Floating threads create surface patterns without changing structural warp weft. It allows for detailed borders and figures, naga motifs, stylized prance, guardian symbols. These visual elements function like a language, sometimes marking events, sometimes indicating region or status.
We should push back on a common impulse here. It's tempting to treat motifs as frozen relics. In fact, patterns move. Trade, patronage, and maker creativity change motifs. A border that looks ancient might have been introduced a century ago and reworked in the last 5 years for festival wear.
I want to emphasize that adaptation is agency. Women weavers have long reshaped patterns to meet needs, new threads, new markets, new meanings. When we call something traditional, we should ask, traditional for whom and in what way? The research points to continuity and change together.
That friction between preservation and market demand is where many projects operate. Some market integration creates livelihoods and keeps skills alive. Other times, mass production strips context. So which initiatives actually support living heritage?
Look for cooperatives and programs that prioritize maker leadership. For instance, social enterprises like Artisans on Core work with local artisans in Siem Reap own skills and market access while reinvesting in training. Regional cooperatives in Battambang and Kampong Thom are documenting local ikat practices and keeping dye recipes circulating locally. The National Museum of Cambodia has also collaborated on conservation training that involves makers in object care rather than excluding them.
Good specifics, thank you. And diaspora artisans are important too. Cambodian makers abroad remix motifs and create new markets while reconnecting to homeland techniques. That cross-border exchange can be a force for revival, not only loss.
If you're listening and want to act, start modestly. Buy directly when you can. Ask about maker attribution and prefer cooperatives that pay fair wages. If you're documenting textiles, ask permission, credit the maker, and include context in captions. These small habits change how textiles are valued and remembered.
For tools and visuals, the show notes include links to an ikat demonstration video on my channel, a conservation primer from the National Museum team, Artisans Encore's workshop pages, and a production contact placeholder for regional cooperatives, which producers will fill with verified local partners. Use those links for deeper, respectful learning.
And a final thought before we close. Mending is meaningful. When a family re-sews a sampot, they are repairing memory, not just fabric. Each mend is a decision about what to keep and what to let change. That's the cultural significance. Continuity through practical care.
Thank you for listening with care. If this episode inspired you, please follow Ancient Echoes on your favorite podcast app. Follow my channels for close-up videos and behind-the-loom clips, and share photos or family textile stories with @AncientEchoesPod so we can feature respectful captions and short recordings. Check the show notes for links to Artisans Encore, the National Museum Conservation Primer, regional cooperative contacts, and further reading.
Thank you. Hold these practices with care and keep asking who tells the story, because heritage is alive when communities lead it.
Let's unlock the echoes of history together.
In the quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree. I called upon spirits, asked them to guide, to take her heart and lead her by my side. So I drew her near, traced her brow so fair on my sight this way. Sacred power, Swahili, mighty spirit awakened. By the master's right, let her heart be gently taken. Let her follow me now by vow and by sign. I hear these words, oh teacher, witness this plea. Oh, my sacred power, Swahili.